So, hey, Eric.
Hi, Chrissy. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about you? And then you have a couple of companies. If you could tell us about that as well.
Yeah, sure. My name's Eric Stansifer. I've been in the Columbus community for over 30 years. I was born in Bloomington, Indiana, so I'm a Hoosier, but don't tell anybody. I went to the Ohio State University, so I'm really a Buckeye, much to my family's chagrin. I was in the military for 9 years, and then I have been in business in various forms for the last few decades. I'm educated. I have a master's degree in business administration. And currently, I have two companies, and they really center around self defense and firearms. One company is about the equipment, it's called Cutter Machine Works, and the other company is about training, and that's called Dark Horse.
Absolutely. And I want to absolutely say thank you for your service. You have an impressive military background. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, we're going to focus a little bit more. As you said, you've got Cutter that focuses in on the firearms or the product, but we're going to talk today more about the CCW and then the safety side of it on Dark Horse MTE. So, can I ask first of all, just really basic? Obviously, we know safety is first and foremost and following rules and putting yourself in a good situation. But if somebody's looking to go down the path of getting CCW, what is CCW anyway?
Yeah, CCW really stands for carrying a concealed weapon. In Ohio, when you're licensed to carry a concealed weapon, it's really a concealed handgun license. So it's specifically a license to carry something under your clothing that you wouldn't normally be able to carry legally. Now, in Ohio, we can carry guns open carry in a holster. Like in the Wild West, we can walk around with a pistol in a holster on our side, but I wouldn't recommend that because that makes us a target with criminals. So if someone was going to rob the 7-Eleven and I'm standing in there, they may shoot me and take my gun and use it for the crime. So whereas if I have a concealed handgun, that means that you can't see that I'm armed. And that helps me in my ability to defend myself and others.
So, and in having it concealed, it gives you a personal sense of safety because you have the knowledge behind it, but you need to know safety before it comes to the handgun. So, what are some of the basics in safety that you should first know and practice?
Yeah, firearms safety is generally thought of with four universal safety rules. Number one, always assume that the weapon is loaded. Number two, never place your finger over the trigger until you're on target and ready to shoot. Number three, always be aware of your target and what is beyond. And never point the weapon at anything that you're not willing to destroy. So when you understand those types of behaviors with the gun, really makes handling the gun a lot safer. Um, Using a firearm is much like using a circular saw. Do you know what I mean, Chrissy? A circular saw to cut 2x4s and to
Oh,
cut plywood. Yeah.
yeah, very much so.
Even if you've never used one before, it's readily evident when you watch someone use one that if you get your parts or pieces or anything that you don't want to cut in front of the blade, it'll cut it. The
Ouch.
other thing is, the other thing is that when you're using a tool like that, if you drop it, that's very problematic, and that's very similar to using handguns or guns in particular. You have to be able to control them in the right direction. You also have to be able to maintain control of them and not drop them. That's problematic. So, all of the safety gears itself towards those basic ideas.
And I will tell everybody out there that I did take your CCW class and very much have a great respect for you. That's the reason I wanted to speak with you today for everyone to learn. But throughout the entire class, you are talking about safety nonstop. So you don't finish a CCW class without fully understanding and taking a vow to follow those points of safety as well.
Yeah, when you consider using, lots of folks consider using a handgun for self defense. When they do that, though, um, if used inappropriately or used in an unsafe manner, they can hurt someone that they don't intend to hurt, or they can hurt themselves. So this tool is indiscriminate. It will do its job if it's told to, no matter what. So it's not like when I have a gun, I'm protected. I have to know how to use the gun. So, like if I gave you a sword and asked you to cut a watermelon in half, that's not a problem. You just swing it like a baseball bat, you make contact, and it'll split that watermelon right up. But if I gave you a sword and said, hey, go fight that sword fighter that's been training sword fighting for his whole life, you would not want to do that.
No,
So,
no.
learning how to use a handgun for self defense is a process, not an event. So, you can't
So,
just go to an 8 hour class and learn what you need to know to be able to be proficient with the tool.
so I was going to ask, how long is the class? What do you need to know before taking the class? How long is the class? It sounds like you said 8 hours, which I know. And then what is the follow up after class?
Yeah. So, in Ohio, you have to get a certificate for training. The training is 6 hours long, and the range time is 2 hours long. So you have to prove proficiency, safety on a range to be able to get the certificate. Now, once you receive the certificate, then you pay $65 and you fill out an application with fingerprints and they do a background check. And then you're able to get a concealed handgun license from whatever county you live in or one of the contiguous counties that you live in. So I live in Delaware County and I can go to Franklin County and get my license. No problem. So that's just the beginning. And one of the things that I mentioned to you before was a lot of people believe that they go and take this 8 hour course and they're good to go. Well, this hasn't even broached the subject of how to use the tool. It's really about how to follow the rules and it's basics. So the next step after you get a concealed handgun license is to take a shooting course. What I mean by that is the way we do it is we get folks and we take them to the range and they'll spend an entire day on the range doing various drills where they'll put the gun into action in various different scenarios to shore up and to maintain those safe practices and start to develop habit. And then it also gains experience. In a life or death situation, you may not have the ability to think about what to do next. So if your body doesn't know what to do, then it may be at a disadvantage.
So, Eric, I know something that when I mentioned to you before, I have a great um, deal of interest in pursuing the continuing hours with you and learning how to use it better. But one of my comments to you was, and I'm asking you again live because I want you to tell everybody, when I said, hey, we're in a quarantine, I'm at home, I can't go to a range, don't have, the access to, maybe the weapon, the ammo, the money, and the time. What was your response to me?
There's a lot of work that can be done at home when we're not shooting any bullets to learn how to shoot.
And I think you even told me, Christy, you have 15 minutes. How am I going to argue that? And I'm home virtually 24/7 outside of a grocery store. Pretty sure I can fit 15 minutes in to make myself a more knowledgeable person, right?
Absolutely. You can take some of the skills you learned in the CCW class and we can turn them into drills for you. And you can utilize those drills to work on your handling of the firearm. And you may not even have a firearm, but I can show you how to do practice maneuvers so that you can get your body used to doing some of the skills that are necessary in learning how to use a handgun. And you can be much further down the path than someone who just waits to go to the range and shoots bullets.
So talking about waiting, when is the right time for someone to get the CCW license and to take a class and to begin this path of practicing and arming
Yeah,
yourself?
a lot of people are waiting for that time when they may need the skills. Well, when you need the skills, that time has passed. Life is a come as you are endeavor. So if you run into a situation where you're talking about being at home 24/7 and someone busts your door in and there's a home invasion type of scenario, it's way too late to get any training. It's way too late to go and get a gun. It's way too late to take action when you need it now. So one of the analogies that I used was, hey, you were a beginning driver at one time, just like me. So if I was learning how to drive a car, right, when is the best time to get your driver's license and go through driver's ed? When you need to take someone to the hospital, or way before that, so that when the emergency comes, that you're ready to do the natural thing, which is get in the car and take your people to the hospital where they can get care. If you're learning how to drive the car in a situation like that, that's a recipe for disaster. If you're learning how to handle a gun when you need a gun, that is a recipe for disaster.
So
So
learning to protect yourself and your being and your possessions and those around you when you're not in the need for it is the right time.
exactly, yeah. And really, what you need to learn how to start is the willingness. In our courses, you don't need any equipment, you don't need any training. You can come to our course. We feed you lunch, we provide all the equipment, we provide all the safety equipment, ammunition. We send you home with a textbook that's a great reference and a great place to start. So the thing is what I want someone that's willing to take the time. 8 hours, a whole entire day, that's a commitment. Paying the money to come to the class, that's a commitment. So I'm just looking for that commitment and someone who has the willingness. Carrying a concealed handgun is not for everyone. And there have been a couple of occasions when they come to the class and learn how the rules work, and they say, this isn't for me. I don't want to carry a gun. One of the realities of life is that if I get involved in an altercation, I know there's a gun involved because I brought one. And any gun that you bring to an altercation like that can be used against you. So retaining the weapon, there we have classes that are lots of work on how to keep someone from taking a gun away from you. So there's a lot more to this topic than people realize, but the main thing is to get started and get started with the right group.
Well, and I think I'm part of that. A misnomer out there that I'll point out from being in class is that the class that I attended, I was female, there were males. So it's for everybody. I had a limited, I do have a little bit of experience, but very limited, really, if I want to be honest with myself, knowledge on handgun use. But I was in the same class with somebody who had been in the military. They still had to have the same CCW course and passing that as well. So the level of experience, whether you're male, female, age, none of that matters. It's just the willingness to participate and follow rules and better yourself in safety, right?
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Self-defense as a broad topic is all about self-improvement.
Yeah, I like that. I think we need to say that one again. I like that. Self-defense.
Self-defense as a broad topic is all about self-improvement. So it's
Yeah.
all about making myself better. And to make myself better, I have to be uncomfortable sometimes.
That is reality. I think in so many ways right now with the quarantine and we're all at home, we are learning how to get better in self-improvement, and it's not comfortable.
We make these challenge coins for our business, and on the back it says, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. And that's the truth. We have to get out of our comfort zone to really take the next step and to move forward in this endeavor. Now, the name of our organization is Dark Horse MTE. MTE stands for Mindset, Training, and Equipment. And what we want to do is we want to train people with the right mindset. Surviving a violent encounter has everything to do about your mindset. You may not have a gun. You may not have the awareness of what's going on around you until it happens. You may not have any training, but you can still survive if you have that will to survive. That's a mindset. And then any equipment in any given situation, whatever you have on your person. I can use my cell phone, which I always have on me. I can use my cell phone as a self-defense tool. I can use my watch on my wrist as a self-defense tool. I can use an ink pen. I can use a chair. I can use a car. So equipment, whatever you have on hand during a critical incident is what you can use. And then the training. I can't get more training the day that I need it. So the time to get trained is ahead of time.
So I will say, because people, just to be able to check out more, and I have a few more questions, so bear with me, but I want to make sure to get out there that people know to find out more and study this on their own. If they go to your website, it's darkhorsemte.com. And kind of following up what you said before when I had you reiterate it, I love right there on the front of your page. Empowering people through proven and innovative training to establish a superior mindset to survive violent encounters. Wow. That says it right there. So like I said,
Well, that's,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, that's what we do. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about guns or we're talking about unarmed defense. That's our mission and our purpose is to empower people. So we teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we teach other self-defense methods, we use firearms, we use other items of convenience. So we're all about making people safer and making them better.
And I understand you're quite impressive in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well.
I don't know about all that, but I work hard at it, that's for sure.
I have heard as much. Hey, so I want to ask you on the, I don't want to say the fun side of it, but somewhat. That's my next step beyond when we're going to get together at the range and try out some different ones, but different guns. But when you do, or when somebody's looking at that, how do they determine what's the right piece of equipment for them?
Yeah, one of the main things that I like to express to folks, it's not how the item feels in your hand. It's how you manage the recoil cycle. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means shooting it. So, like when I go to the store and I look at a motorcycle, I'm sitting on a motorcycle in a showroom. That doesn't tell me anything about how it rides. So, I have to actually get out there and ride it to really find out if it's a good fit. Same way with the firearm. I have to get out there and I have to shoot the firearm and see how it works for me. Proof is in the pudding. It may feel really good in my hand, it may feel like the right size, but if I don't shoot it well at all, then maybe that's not the right choice. So choosing a firearm is a process. A lot of people think, oh, I need to get this gun and then I need to take the concealed handgun course. And we recommend that people do the opposite. When you come to our course, we provide all the guns and ammunition for you to try, just like you did. And you got to try 2 or 3 different firearms, and it really kind of set the stage for what I'm talking about. And when you choose the gun that you're going to buy, I mean, I don't know about you, but I can't buy 5 guns to determine whether to determine which one is best for me. I just don't have the resources to do that. So the best way to do it is to go to a good range that has rentals, and go with someone who knows what they're doing. And then you rent 3 or 4 different kinds of guns, and you basically test yourself and see how you shoot them. So when you pick up a gun and you say, oh, it feels okay, but boy, I shoot this better than everything else in the lineup, then that should be an indicator that maybe you should look a little closer at choosing that one.
And so, yeah, absolutely. Buying a gun is not going to be like buying a pair of shoes. I can't stock my closet with it. So it needs to be the right one. Something that I did not know, and maybe it's not new news to everyone out there, but just in case it is to anyone, when you find the one with the right recoil and it feels good to you, you can, though, at your company at Cutter, you can make modifications to it to make that gun that feels right feel even better, right? And what kind of modifications can you make?
Yeah, we can take a gun and we can do what's called grip stippling. So we can modify the grip so it has a texture so you can hang on to it better, or it has a different shape. We can also modify the mechanics of the guns so that instead of fighting the gun to make it go bang, like when the trigger pull is so stiff that it's really hard to make work, we can lighten that up on certain guns in certain ways and make it so that it's more accurate and it's easier to shoot. So what we do mostly at Cutter is modify guns. So we are a customizer of guns, and we take guns that people have just sitting around, and we turn them into something special, and they end up using them quite a bit.
I will absolutely concur with that. I remember when I tried Doug's on one of them. I'm like, whoa, I want to buy this. Where do I buy that? Well, you can buy the gun, but what you've done to it made all the difference in the world. It was impressive.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So I do have a question over here that was asked. Somebody said, what's the usual response time for police? So if you have an emergency, you call the police, standing around and waiting. What is the usual response time for them versus you needing to jump in and maybe save your own life?
Yeah, the usual response time for folks in communities where you and I live is roughly 6 minutes average. So a lot can happen in 6 minutes. Now, the reason why I am armed everywhere I go is because life has come as you are. And whatever you have on you are the tools that you have. Now, I'm not a police officer, so I'm not going to go after someone who's doing bad things necessarily. And that's something else that you have to make the decision for on your own. If someone's trying to hurt me or my family, I will act. But if someone's like robbing a store, it's not my job to stop them and to step in. If people are getting hurt, I doubt I could stand by and watch that. So I probably would act just as a person. You know, someone I don't when I was young I was bullied. So maybe that's why I'm a martial arts instructor. Those experiences have shaped me in many different ways, and that's where the empowering type of mindset comes from. I don't ever want to see someone being taken advantage of physically by a bully or anybody else. Now, when I was young, there wasn't so much talk about bullying in schools and stuff like that, and it wasn't really talked about. But everybody has experienced it in one way or another. And I certainly don't want to be in an environment where someone's doing bad things with a gun or violence in general, and I don't have the ability to think about it. No longer can we say in our communities, I never thought that would happen here. We can be in our own community, in church, at work, at home. We could be at a Mediterranean restaurant and someone comes in and tries to hurt people with a machete. We could be at a movie. We could be anywhere. So I believe in empowering myself and training myself, hopefully to never need any of these skills. But it's a very interesting study as well. So it's kind of a way to escape the regular rhythms of life, is to go and study Brazilian Jiu Jitsu or study how to fight or study how to use a handgun or a shotgun or a rifle. I mean, I don't ever want to use any of these tools, but if I ever have to, then I want to be the very best I can be at it.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is not to live your life in fear, but live your life, as we've said multiple times, empowered
Yeah.
um, with that knowledge.
Yeah. It's,
Absolutely.
my whole business and my whole lifestyle is centered around this in many different ways.
So somebody has asked if they're, do you think that everyone who purchases a firearm should take a CCW class?
Absolutely. And I think they should take a shooting class. The
Hmm.
CCW class isn't even the beginning of learning how to use that firearm. The CCW class spends 6 hours of class time learning some fundamental basics and 2 hours of range time. That is nowhere near what it takes to be able to use a handgun in a self defense situation. So we believe in defensive shooting fundamentals, level 1 and level 2. Each of those courses is an all-day course and all day on the range, all day shooting. We shoot 500 rounds in one day with one of those courses and go over many different aspects of how to put a handgun into action. I mean, the last thing I'd want to do is have a handgun and shoot someone that I didn't want to shoot. That type of skill only comes with practice. Like I can't just assume that because I don't want to hurt someone that I won't, including myself.
A very big takeaway from the course was undoubtedly the reminder that you do not um, do anything that you are not ready for the repercussions, because there's such obviously a lasting impact of the choice that you make. So that was
Yep.
definitely drilled in very well that day.
Yeah,
I
we're
do
held
want to
to a
ask,
higher standard. We're held
yeah,
to a higher standard when we use tools of self-defense like this. And it's not for everyone.
and that's taken into account in a court of law afterwards. If you do go to protect yourself, that is going to be something you still have to answer to. It's probably maybe the right thing to do, but you just have to be ready for that discussion after.
Absolutely. That's all a part of the training is being aware. I mean, you'll recall the first thing that we talked about was situational awareness. And
Mhm.
that in and of itself, I mean, I don't need any training and I can use training to enhance it or any equipment or anything to pay more attention to what's going on in my environment. And that advanced knowledge or listening to my gut, when you get that butterfly feeling in your tummy and you're in a situation, that can be all the response you need to get out of there and go do something else.
So your first step could be just getting out. It should be actually, if possible.
The only guaranteed success of dealing with a violent encounter is to not be there.
Absolutely. And I know that was a lot. I personally, and my goal and interest behind it is a real estate agent. And you know that was where a lot of my line of questioning came in when I was in class was being protective. And that was the beauty is don't put yourself in the situation, first of all. And then if you are in it, how to best get your way out. If it needs to be with force in that way, that might be, but it very well might not be. That's your last extent if needed.
Yeah, I'm a licensed real estate agent as well, and one thing I can tell you is that the profession itself will place you in harm's way. Often, you're going into environments where you do not know who is there, and you can be isolated from help rather easily. So I've done self-defense courses for realtor groups, being a realtor myself, because I can speak their language and I understand the types of activities that they go through, but I can also help you orchestrate a safer environment, both to let folks in your network know when you have appointments and you're on your own, and when you're out there and something doesn't feel right, to back yourself out. It's not about making the sale, it's about being safe in certain situations. You know, if you're dealing with a family that you've dealt with for years and sold many homes to, that's not really what I'm talking about. Now, it could be if you're the person that's showing them a home and someone's there who shouldn't be, or someone's there giving folks trouble. You know, you can be the person to keep your people safe as well, talk sense into them, or drive the activities to keep them safe.
And this is a real need because there's been plenty of people on the news, unfortunately, across the nation where realtors were attacked. But this isn't just realtors, that affects us, you and I. But, you know, if somebody, we have a house cleaner on here, you know, there are stay-at-home people who might need to protect themselves. I know people that go out with me in real estate and you, stagers or, you know, photographers. There's all kinds of people that are entering someone else's home, or they're at a place where people are entering them, that really need to kind of open their mindset. I guess that was my PSA. Sorry. It's for a lot. Every profession is the right profession. I did get somebody asked me a question. So what is this? Has there ever been any real estate showings where you wished you had a CCW? Yeah, absolutely is the answer. That's the reason I got myself into Eric's class. And do you think someone who is doing your type of work that you would encourage? Oh, well, I just did. I would encourage everyone to get a class with Eric. So step one is when they sign up for CCW. You mentioned after that 2 days on the range. We don't know dates right now. We're in a quarantine, but do you have any anticipated dates, or how are people going to find out how to sign up not only for CCW, but the follow-up range classes?
Yeah, Dark Horse MTE, the website, darkhorsemte.com. We have our course offerings on there, and we're scheduled out through 2020. So you can sign up for classes in the summer, in the fall, in the winter now, for 2020. So we're already set up and ready to go. And as soon as the quarantine is lifted, the classes will be offered.
Pretty fun sense of accomplishment when you make that aim and fire and you look, and I know I'm like turning around and jumping up and down with you. You're like, I told you you could do it. And I was like, bam, 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 right in the right area. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, the neat thing is that the recipe that we use to train people how to do well at it, it's just a matter of willingness. And you were a willing participant. You did everything we asked you to do, and the method works, and it works really well. It's a very, I hate to use the word, but it really is empowering. You know, when you're able to shoot at a target and hit your target, it's pretty cool. It's a neat experience.
Well, it also helps when you have a great teacher. So I thank you for that, Eric. Is the best way to get a hold of you by people going to the website and then contacting you through there?
Absolutely.
Okay. So again, it's darkhorsemte.com. Is there anything, Eric, that I have not asked that you feel like everybody out there should know on this video today?
No, you've done a fantastic job, and I really enjoyed my time with you today.
I absolutely same here. And if we can chat after, I definitely want to talk about what I should be doing 15 minutes a week while we're still in this quarantine. Can we chat later?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So I say thank you to Eric for being with us today. Thank you again for your service. And I look forward to working with you in the very near future. If anybody out there has any questions on real estate, buying, selling, or investing, give me a call. Homes by Chrissy, 614-332-0342. Bye, everyone.